Quick question. What's the hardest working organ in your body? Most people say it's the heart. Some say the brain. Both great answers, but both are wrong. There's an organ that never clocks out. It manages how much energy you have, how your hormones behave, how your blood is filtered, how your vitamins are stored, how your fats are broken down. And that's just scratching the surface. It's there quietly performing over 500 functions every single day. 500. And yet most people know almost nothing about it. So today we're changing that. Welcome to Wild is Wise. I'm Sarah Estes, a former private investigator who ditched the high-stress legal life after a major health crisis. I rebuilt my health from the ground up through nutrition and functional medicine, and now I'm here to uncover the truth about women's wellness and translate it so you can make informed decisions about your health. On this podcast, we break down women's nutrition and physiology with real research and actionable tips. And here's the core philosophy. What's found in nature is often exactly what our biology is wired to thrive on. We get nerdy with the science, but keep it practical for everyday life. If you're ready to understand what your body actually needs, you're in the right place. As always, this podcast is educational, not medical advice. Please talk to your healthcare provider before making any changes. All right, let's jump in. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite unsung heroes, an organ you've probably never given a standing ovation, but one that makes life possible for you every single day. So, if the hardest working organ in your body isn't the heart or brain, what is it? It's the liver. And the contest isn't even close. Your heart pumps blood, critical job, yes. Your brain processes information and controls movement, stores memories, all of that, yes, also critical. But your liver manages the systems that make all of that work. It's managing your energy supply, it's filtering your blood, it's processing the proteins that make your blood clot. It's recycling iron from old red blood cells, detoxifying ammonia, balancing your hormones, storing vitamins, creating cholesterol. It's fighting infections, clearing waste. I could go on and on and on and on. If your liver stopped working, you would not survive very long. Yet no one really talks about how important this organ is. So let's put this into perspective. If your body were a city, your heart would be like the power grid. Your brain would be, let's say, City Hall, important infrastructure, no question. But your liver is the entire waste management system. It's the water treatment plant. It's the energy storage facility. It's the transportation department, the police force, and the city planning office too, all rolled into one. It doesn't just do one big job well, it does hundreds of jobs simultaneously, 24/7, without you ever thinking about it. According to Johns Hopkins, the liver performs more than 500 known essential functions. And unlike your heart or lungs, which basically do the same thing over and over, the liver is constantly adapting, switching between roles depending on what your body needs at any given moment. So let's break down some of the big ones so that we can understand this organ a little better. The first is digestion. Your liver produces bile, about a quart of it every day. Bile does two things. First, it emulsifies fat. Basically, it breaks down the fat from your food, from what you eat, into tiny little droplets so that your small intestine can actually absorb it. Without bile, you can't digest fat, you can't absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and your body can't make hormones properly because many hormones are made from fat. Second, bile acts as a waste disposal system, so it's going to carry out toxins, old hormones, and metabolic waste out of your liver and into your digestive tract so they can leave your body. Think of bile as a fluid that works kind of like soap. It's going to break down fats and carry the waste products out. Now, let's talk about energy. Here's something most people don't realize. Your liver is literally your body's energy bank. So when you eat, especially carbs or sugar, and you have more glucose than your cells need, your liver converts that extra glucose into glycogen and stores it. So you can think of glycogen like a rechargeable battery pack, right? Your liver keeps it on standby. Then when your blood sugar drops, that might happen when you're exercising or if you haven't eaten in a few hours or when you're sleeping throughout the night, Your liver converts that glycogen back into glucose and releases it into your bloodstream. This is how your blood sugar stays stable even when you're not constantly eating. And it's why you can wake up in the morning with energy even though you haven't eaten for like 8 hours or more. Your liver is literally managing your energy supply in real time. So it's adjusting moment to moment based on what your body actually needs. The next thing that the liver controls is fat transport. And this one's really fascinating. Fats don't mix with water, and your blood is mostly water. So how do fats get from your digestive system to your cells? Here's how. Your liver creates lipoproteins. Essentially, these are like tiny little taxis made of protein and fat that can travel through your bloodstream. These lipoproteins pick up fats and cholesterol and shuttle them to the cells that need them. They may need them for energy, for building cell membranes, for making hormones. Without this system, fats would just clump together and clog your arteries. So the liver makes sure that everything moves smooth. And by the way, this is where cholesterol comes from. Your liver produces cholesterol. It's not just from food. Your body makes it because you need it. It's essential for cell structure, vitamin D production, and hormone synthesis. The problem isn't cholesterol. The problem is when the transportation system gets overloaded or damaged and cholesterol starts accumulating where it shouldn't. But that's a liver issue, not a cholesterol issue. Next is iron. Here's something that blew my mind when I first learned it. Your liver recycles iron. Red blood cells have a lifespan of about 120 days, and when they get old and worn out, they break down. But the iron inside them is incredibly valuable, and your body doesn't want to waste it. So your liver comes and saves the day, it captures the iron, it stores it, and then it recycles it to make new red blood cells. It's basically like a closed loop sustainability program. Nothing gets wasted there. And this ties back to something that we talked about in episode 1, which was about iron absorption and ferritin. If your liver isn't functioning well, it can't manage your iron stores properly. And then that, of course, leads to fatigue, brain fog, and low energy, even if you're eating iron-rich foods. All right, now the liver's most famous job is detoxification. People love to talk about detoxing and cleanses, but the truth is your liver is already doing that every second of every day. It filters about 1 to 1.5 liters of blood per minute. That's roughly your entire blood volume cycled through your liver roughly once every few minutes. When that's happening, it's pulling out alcohol, medications, environmental chemicals, excess hormones, metabolic waste products, and bacteria. And it's converting harmful substances into forms your body can safely eliminate. For example, when you digest protein, your body produces ammonia as a byproduct. Ammonia is toxic. If ammonia builds up, you get very sick very quickly. So your liver takes that ammonia and converts it into urea, which is a harmless compound that travels to your kidneys and leaves your body in urine. This happens constantly, automatically, without you ever thinking about it, which is pretty amazing. And then, of course, there's immunity. And here's something that most people don't know, and that is your liver is part of your immune system. It produces immune factors, proteins that help fight infections, but it also acts as a physical filter, pulling bacteria directly out of your bloodstream and destroying them. This is critical. If bacteria from your gut were to enter your bloodstream unchecked, you develop sepsis. That's what sepsis is. Your liver prevents that from happening. It's kind of like having a security checkpoint between your digestive system and the rest of your body. So it's constantly screening, identifying threats, and neutralizing them before they can cause harm. Next up is blood clotting. Your liver also produces the clotting factors that make your blood clot properly. When you get cut, your blood needs to clot very quickly to stop the bleeding and start healing. If your liver isn't functioning well, those clotting factors drop. And at that point, even minor injuries can become very serious because your blood doesn't clot effectively. And this is why people with advanced liver disease bruise really easy and bleed longer. Now let's talk about a visible sign of liver health. So here's a visual one, and it's called bilirubin. When red blood cells break down, they produce bilirubin, and that's a yellowish waste product. Your liver produces bilirubin and clears it from your body. But if your liver gets overwhelmed and stops functioning properly, bilirubin builds up in your blood and you can see it with your eyes. It's visual. It causes jaundice, and that is the yellowing of the skin and the yellowing of the whites of the eyes. Jaundice is your body's way of saying the liver is struggling. It's a visible warning sign that something is not right. Newborn babies often get this. My daughter had it when she was first born, and we had to give her these little drops so that she could get rid of it. They often get jaundice because their livers are still developing and they can't process that bilirubin efficiently yet. And it usually resolves on its own, but it's a reminder of just how critical this function is. Now, there's a bit of a problem going on. Here's a reality. With hundreds of jobs running around the clock, we just talked about several of them, the liver is remarkably resilient. It can lose a substantial part of its functional tissue and still keep you alive. It's one of the only organs capable of true regeneration. But resilience doesn't mean indestructible. And the modern world places an unprecedented burden on the liver. It is hard on the liver. We're exposed to more environmental chemicals than any generation before us. So I'm talking about pesticides in food, synthetic fragrances in our personal care products, plastics and industrial compounds in water and packaging, air pollution, and household cleaners. All of it ultimately has to be processed by the liver. The kidneys and the gut help out as well, but the liver really bears the brunt of it. And then at the same time, we drink alcohol, we take more medications than ever, both prescription and over the counter, and we consume more ultra-processed foods filled with additives that the liver has to metabolize. And then layer in chronic stress, poor sleep, and our often sedentary lifestyles, and the picture becomes clearer. Elevated cortisol and low-grade inflammation interfere with the liver's ability to regulate fat and glucose metabolism, and the result is a growing health crisis. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease affects roughly 25 to 30% of adults in the United States. Now, it's referred to as MASLD, which stands for a mouthful, which is metabolic dysfunction associated steatotic liver disease. This affects roughly 1 in 4 people. Many people don't know that they have it because their liver doesn't produce pain. And often there are no warning signs until things get really bad. The primary driver behind this epidemic is metabolic dysfunction and particularly insulin resistance. When we consume excess sugar and highly processed foods, and then we carry excess visceral fat, our cells become less responsive to insulin. And the liver compensates by taking up more glucose and converting that into fat. So over time, fat accumulates within the liver tissue. That's a process that we call steatosis, which interferes with normal liver function. On top of this metabolic strain, the liver is simultaneously managing that unprecedented chemical load that I mentioned, which is all of the pesticides and microplastics. And then you've got the medication and alcohol, which those things demand priority processing, and that can divert resources from other essential liver functions. And then, of course, there's the chronic strain and physical inactivity, and those promote inflammation, which further disrupt fat and sugar regulation. So individually, these stressors may be manageable, but together they overwhelm a system that's designed for balance, not constant overload. So what do we do to support our liver? Well, the good news is that the liver responds incredibly well to support. Small, consistent changes can have a huge impact. So first, let's start with what to minimize. The first one is obvious: alcohol. It's obvious, but it's worth saying. Alcohol is hard on the liver. It forces the liver into constant detox mode, which leads to inflammation, fat accumulation, and eventually scarring, which we call cirrhosis. So if you're going to drink, keep it moderate and give your liver regular breaks. The second thing to minimize is environmental toxins. Try to reduce your exposure to pesticides and chemicals wherever you can. So you want to wash all your produce thoroughly. Choose organic when possible, especially for the dirty dozen. So the dirty dozen are 12 foods that tend to have the highest pesticide residues in them. A few of those are strawberries, spinach, kale, apples, grapes, those things you must wash. And then, of course, you want to go low tox in your home. This is something I'm very, very passionate about. Swap out all the harsh cleaning products for simpler plant-based options. Brands that I love are Branch Basics for your everyday kitchen cleaner, bathroom cleaner, glass cleaner. And then you've got brands like Molly Suds, which I love for laundry detergent. There are a lot of options out there. So go on Amazon, look these up. They're great. You also want to look at your personal care products because while it may seem like you're only using a small amount, these things accumulate over time. Think of 10 years using a particular lotion on your face. Remember, your skin is the largest organ on your body. So if you're putting it on your body, it's getting into your system. So look at your lotions, shampoos, makeup, deodorant. If the ingredient list looks like a chemistry textbook, remember that your liver has to process all of that. Every chemical you don't expose yourself to is one less thing that your liver has to filter out. The third thing we want to minimize is medications and supplements. Be mindful of what you take. Some medications are known to be hard on the liver, and your doctor would manage all of that. But even over-the-counter stuff like acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, can stress the liver if you take it frequently or in high doses. Supplements can be tricky. The supplement industry isn't tightly regulated, and that means that brands don't have to get their products third-party tested. Some products may contain heavy metals or fillers or synthetic compounds that your liver struggles with. Even natural supplements can stress the liver at high doses or if they're contaminated. So be very picky with your supplement brands and monitor your use with your practitioner. You want to look for quality. Choose brands that are transparent about their sourcing, their testing, and their manufacturing. Ideally, products that are made in FDA-registered facilities with third-party testing. We just talked about what to minimize, so now what do we want to add? The first one, which is probably pretty obvious, is exercise, but specifically HIIT exercises. Research from the University of Missouri School of Medicine, published in 2024, looked at people with MASH, which is metabolic dysfunction associated steatohepatitis, which is a serious form of fatty liver disease. They put one group on a high-intensity interval training program combined with a calorie-restricted diet for about 10 months. And the results were pretty remarkable. The treatment group lost 13 to 22 pounds, gained muscle mass, improved insulin sensitivity, and dramatically improved their liver health. And all of this was confirmed through imaging and biopsies. The control group, which received just standard care, they saw minimal improvement. So what's the takeaway here? It's that exercise matters. And HIIT, which is those short bursts of intense effort, seems to be particularly effective for liver health. Now, you don't need to spend hours at the gym. Even 20 to 30 minutes of interval training a few times a week can make a huge difference, according to the research. And secondly, we want to add liver supportive foods. Certain foods actively support liver function. So let's talk about a few. Fiber-rich whole grains. Think oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa. Fiber helps your body eliminate waste, which takes some of that load off the liver. Cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale. These contain compounds that support the liver's detoxification pathways. Leafy greens. We love our leafy greens. Spinach, arugula. They're high in chlorophyll, which helps neutralize toxins. Berries, especially blueberries, they're packed with antioxidants that protect liver cells from damage. Healthy fats. Almonds, walnuts, avocados, olive oil. These support overall liver function without overloading it. Lean proteins like chicken, fish, grass-fed beef. Your liver needs amino acids to produce enzymes and repair itself. Green tea contains catechins, which have been shown to improve liver enzyme levels. And then herbs, oregano, sage, rosemary, turmeric. These have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties that support liver health. Now, the third thing we can consider adding is coffee. Yes, really. Here's the surprise. Multiple studies have shown that drinking up to 3 cups of coffee per day has a protective effect on the liver. It seems to reduce the risk of liver damage, even in people who drink alcohol and have poor diets. The exact mechanism isn't fully understood, but it's a consistent finding across research. So if you're a coffee drinker, you're actually doing your liver a favor, as long as you're not loading it with sugar and cream and all the bad stuff that coffee can come with. And fourth, we want to stay hydrated. Water supports every detoxification process in your body. It helps your liver flush out waste products more efficiently. Aim for half your body weight in ounces per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, that's 75 ounces of water. Simple, but very effective. Now, even with great habits, modern diets don't always provide everything the liver needs to do 500 jobs every day. This is where bioavailable nutrition comes in. And we've talked about this before. Nutrients and forms your body actually recognizes and absorbs. For the liver, that means things like vitamin A, which is critical for liver regeneration and immune function. B vitamins, especially B12, folate, and B6. These support the liver's detoxification pathways and energy metabolism. Copper, choline, zinc, these are all liver-supporting vitamins. All right, here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Your liver is doing more work than any other organ in your body, over 500 functions every single day. It's filtering your blood, it's managing your energy, it's breaking down fats, it's detoxifying, it's supporting your immune system, and it's keeping everything running smoothly behind the scenes. And it's resilient. It can take a lot of abuse, but it's not invincible. The modern world is hard on the liver. Too many chemicals, too much alcohol, too many medications, too much processed foods, not enough movement, not enough sleep, not enough nutrient-dense food, but the liver responds incredibly well to support. So if you can minimize the toxins, if you can move your body, if you can eat fiber and antioxidants and stay hydrated, as well as giving your liver the building blocks, the vitamins that it needs to repair and regenerate, these small, consistent choices really add up. And when your liver is functioning well, everything else improves. Your energy stabilizes, digestion smooths out, your skin clears up, brain fog lifts. Because when that quiet little powerhouse is working properly, your whole system thrives. So next time you're thinking about your health, don't just focus on your heart rate or your brain function. Think about your liver. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that's making its job harder? And also, what am I doing that's making its job easier? Because supporting your liver isn't complicated. It just requires intentionality. All right, that's it for this episode of Wild is Wise. Next episode, we're diving into something that most doctors never learned in medical school. We're going to be talking about why nutrition education is almost completely absent from a lot of medical training and how that gap affects the advice you're getting about your health. Until then, stay wild, stay wise. I'll see you next time.